Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, where you are. Welcome to AWS for Health bi-weekly enablement sessions. The AWS for Health is a bi-weekly series where we will start with healthcare and life sciences industry-specific business problem, and then we show the solution how you can solve those business use cases by using various AWS services. All these sessions start with the business problem, followed by the end-to-end solution demonstration, and then we will also talk about the solution architecture related to the solution, as well as we'll also share you some of the technical artifacts where you can go ahead and try and do some POCs in our environment. With this, let me introduce myself. My name is Raghavara Sodabattina. I am a principal solution architect at AWS. I've been in AWS for the last 6 years. My area of specialization is data and AI. Um, Before we get into the session details, we have like speakers from AWS Generative AI Innovation Center. They will introduce themselves. Tyler, can you introduce yourself and talk about how long you have been with AWS and how do you find working with AWS?
Hi, everyone. Yes, thank you. My name's Taylor Jensen. I'm a senior generative AI strategist with the Generative AI Innovation Center. I've been with AWS just over a year now, and have a lot of experience working cross-industry, helping our customers take the toughest generative AI problems and bring fantastic folks like Mufujul and Priyashri, who will introduce themselves next year, to help solve those problems in order to get those solutions into production. And so, like you said, we'll be going over one of those examples and solutions that we use with our customers today. Mofujul, you want to go ahead next?
Yeah, thank you, Taylor. Hi, everyone. I'm Mofijul. I'm an applied scientist at AWS GenAI Innovation Center. I'm here almost like a little more than 2 years. I'm leading several projects related to document understanding, multimodal reasoning along this line. We are actively collaborating with the customer to produce and develop some reusable asset, which is like a production ready, which is can help you guys to build a POC and in a production environment. I'm happy to share one of the assets today. I will pass to Priya for a quick intro.
Hey everyone, I'm Priyashri Roy. I'm a data scientist at the GenAI Innovation Center here at AWS. I have been with AWS for about 1.5 years. It's amazing. I get to work with amazing colleagues like Taylor and Mofijul. We have worked a lot on the intelligent document processing area. We have worked with various customers in healthcare, finance, legal, etc. So very happy to be here and to share about the IDP accelerator with all of you.
Hi, Priya, where are you from?
I'm from Boston.
Okay, nice to hear. Hi, everyone. I'm also from Boston, Massachusetts. Where are you from? Put it in the comments. Okay, so let us get into the high level overview of the session, right? Many healthcare organizations, whether healthcare payer providers or biopharma companies, they will deal with a lot of documents, right? You need to extract the data from the documents for the claim processing or a patient intake forms where you need to get a prior authorization and all. If you want to do this manual, it is going to take a lot of time. Like sometime you might end up doing like a clinical documentation which requires like a extensive manual validation. All this is going to leading to care, revenue loss, and some of the risk. So this is where Generative AI Innovation Center, Tyler is going to talk a little bit more about what is AWS Generative Innovation Center and all. We build like generative AI intelligent document processing as a solution. It can eliminate these manual thing through AI powered engines. It uses Amazon Bedrock, and then you can automatically extract the key data in minutes instead of days. And also you can use this extracted data from the documents, and then you can fed them into the downstream workflows or business applications. For example, you can use this extracted data for a claim processing. So with this, let us quickly touch upon today's agenda. First, Tyler is going to talk a little bit more about what is AWS Generative Innovation Center, how it works. And then we are going to talk about Generative AI IDP solution. And we will definitely show the complete demo, end-to-end working solution. And then we will also deep dive into the architecture behind the solution. At the end, we will share you the accelerator links so that you can test it in your own environment, do the POCs, and then wherever you have these intelligent document processing workflows, you can leverage this accelerator or a solution so that you can build your business applications quickly. With this, I will hand over to Tyler.
Thank you, folks. And so we'll dive right into giving a little bit of background around the Innovation Center. So to give you a quick idea of what we do, we're a specialized group inside of AWS with both the technical breadth and depth for generative AI applications. And like I mentioned earlier, our goal is to help our customers go from idea into production. And we do that by using our deep in-house generative AI expertise. We've got over 400 generative AI experts, including strategists such as myself, applied scientists, data scientists, security experts, and engineers to help solve our customers' unique challenges and needs. And what we do is we work backwards from the customer needs in order to deliver results. And we met our customers where they're at on their generative AI journey to bring forward offerings and accelerators. And one of those accelerators that we've alluded to just a bit ago around intelligent document processing, you'll see in just a bit. Our program launched with a $100 million AWS investment in June of 2023. And just a few months ago, we received another investment to help transform and delight our customers with these generative AI solutions. To give you an idea of the services we kind of provide, we interact with customers in a variety of ways. One of those is advisory services, where we bring scientists such as Mofujul and Priyashri to our customers to work on advising on solutions that are currently in development. We also do hands-on engagements, where we come and we do a hands-on solution development specifically for business goals or challenges you might be facing. In addition, we've got a variety of other services through our partners, specialized partners, model customization, model fine-tuning, delivery services. So taking things from POC and making them production hardened and production ready, as well as Amazon quick success teams and some fixed price packages. So we interact with customers from all different areas and industries, and you'll get a sense of one of the ways that we help our customers through the demo just a little bit later on. And now to talk about like the topic at hand, as we're probably all familiar, we see documents all the time. In fact, 80 to 90% of global data is mostly unstructured and untapped due to that complexity. With the advent of generative AI, this unstructured data and what prevented it from being useful before, which is the lack of a rigid structured schema that we see in the structured data space, is actually becoming a non-blocker with these systems, and we're able to actually work with these unstructured data sets. Data sets that we see people working with include like claims forms, medical documents, provider notes, and any other kinds of forms, insurance, government identification, test results, anywhere from something that's been scanned or faxed all the way over to a full-fledged machine-readable document. And this is that untapped data store that exists in a lot of businesses, and that's where generative AI, especially in the intelligent document processing space, can assist with. And we know that there'll be questions coming on later. We'll make sure to address all of those as well at the end. So to give you a sense of how you'll see intelligent document processing in use, we've always start with the unstructured data, right, that I've talked about before. And those documents can come, like I said, in a variety of formats. The from that unstructured form, like which can include video, audio, Word, PDF. The whole goal is to take those, use generative AI foundation models, and convert them then to that center column into that structured data that can be consumed either downstream by a system for document ingestion, or use them as a foundation for an LLM's contextual awareness, as well as taking actions, even as part of an agentic solution. And so we've seen that LLMs have been highly accurate in their analysis and extraction identification of these documents. In addition, costs are always decreasing with these LLMs, and we've seen them drive a lot of innovative solutions inside the HCLS space. They're relatively straightforward to set up, and you'll see with our demo later, they're very scalable to thousands of documents a minute, or even more. And on AWS, you'll be able to utilize the power of the cloud to scale out those workloads. So to give you just I've touched on some of these, to give you a little bit of an idea around like why generative AI, I mentioned them, highly accurate. They're always improving. So as everyone's probably aware, there seems to be a new model coming out every day, and we host a lot of different options and be able to select the right LLM tool for your job on Bedrock itself. In addition to that, by using the cloud, their rapid processing is available, scalability, and we're seeing costs continuously decrease to as little as, basically 0.004 cents per page for document processing. In addition, the ability to be able to handle different languages and make different languages, different formats without rigid rule sets or things like that would pop up in OCR, then we'll have basically better operational success. To kind of give you a sense of a like usage for generative AI in healthcare, we've seen a lot of different ways that this can be used. And this, of course, for this slide has a lot of different use cases on here. And the vast majority of them, as you see, actually involves some sort of document processing, right? These range from like a clinical workflow all the way over to, analyzing patient level or cohort level records for care management, and all the way to patient engagement. So these reports and generating reports can all be done with generative AI, but it usually requires some sort of handling of unstructured documents. And we also see a lot of research applications summarizing, say, executive publications, ingesting them, creating knowledge bases for them, as well as enabling things like Q&A for internal HR or policy documents, all the way into domain-specific research during development.
Hey, Tyler,
Yeah.
a question here, right? You shown like some of the use cases here. Can we leverage intelligent document processing accelerator for all of these use cases?
I would say that almost all of these use cases are based on intelligent document processing. So while a self-service chatbot for enterprise Q&A, that final agent may not be a intelligent document processor, but intelligent document processing is definitely the very first thing that you'll want to address as you set out to make all these use cases come into reality. So that's a long way of saying yes.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, definitely. Perfect. Yeah. Any other questions I can help answer?
Oh, we're good for now. Go ahead.
Sure. Definitely. So like I was saying, that a lot of these involve or can involve structured data or documents that are being ingested. And as we move on here, one of the customers that we've actually worked with has had great success using our document processing accelerator. So Myriad Genetics, we actually worked with them and partnered with them to help revolutionize their document processing workflows across multiple business units, including areas like women's health, ontology. And to give you some background, Myriad faced challenges with their document processing system and aimed to reduce costs because they were facing around $15,000 per month per business unit to actually classify documents. We were able to build them a system that effectively matched their existing accuracy of over 94% while adding new information extraction capabilities. So we were able to guide them and introduce a scalable solution that actually replaced Amazon Comprehend with Amazon Nova Pro on Bedrock and an optimized Amazon Textract. And so we utilized our accelerator and Nova Pro's advanced reasoning skills for entity extractions, and the results we saw were very good. So we saw a 77% reduction in the NLP spend, saving approximately $110,000 to $132,000 a year, while at the same time increasing processing by about 80%. And we actually improved accuracy by 4%, bringing up to a 98% classification accuracy for documents, while still having 90% extraction accuracy. And we were able to do that all using the accelerator you'll see here in a bit, and Amazon's Nova large language model. So one other customer I want to touch on as well before we kind of get into the specifics is the Hartford. So this is another customer we worked with, and they faced some pretty significant operational burdens for their claims adjusters, who had to review over 5 million records annually. One of these records, each one of these records required careful analysis to extract relevant information for claims decisions and create a bottleneck in the claims process and increased adjuster workload. The Hartford partnered with us to build out an LLM pipeline for medical record summarization. And, this solution actually combined a couple of different areas like prompt engineering, tooling, as well as AWS Bedrock guardrails. And the team actually deployed an evaluation framework that involved both the subject matter experts from the business as well as automated metrics to make sure that the LLMs were generating high quality summaries. And the SMEs found that the results were actually very accurate. Around 98% accurate and about 85% complete, which means they were able to access the most important information very fast and faster than they were before. On top of this also reduced the burden on these claims adjusters to get much lighter, right? Reducing the amount of time it takes for these adjusters to actually read medical records by a factor of about 7.5. So with that, I'll dive into kind of our next topic of order here, which is the actual accelerator that we've been using when we engage with our customers. And this is a new and it's open source document processing system that y'all can access today on GitHub. We'll have the link for it a little bit later here, so everyone will be able to access it and download it. So I see we have a question here to provide an overview of how we can build OCR using a generative AI-like overview. One of the best ways, and maybe I'll lean on Mufujul and Priyashri here a little bit too, but one of the best ways to utilize, generative AI inside of an OCR system is to, one, utilize machine readable documents if you have those. So those are like the PDFs, you can click and scan. That's one way that you can ingest those and then feed that into a non-multimodal LLM. The other option is also to use a multimodal LLM that will actually take the image of the document, ingest that, and be able to reason through all of the different things that it needs to extract and the logic of what's on the page. And so we'll actually have an example of that with Priyashri here in just a moment too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler. Go ahead.
Yep. So with that, Priyashri, can I hand this off to you for our demo, just to kind of describe the various aspects that we're doing?
Yeah, Tyler, before you go, let's take another question.
Sure.
You talked about like 98% accurate, 85% complete. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, definitely. So when we say 98% accurate, that means that of the 85% of the information that's extracted from the document, that information was 98% accurate. So it's kind of saying if we've got one document with, if we need to extract 100% of the information, we got 85% of the total information on the document. And of that information, it was 98% accurate. That's a good question.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyler. So everyone, please post your questions in the chat. Throughout the session, we will periodically review the questions. We'll bring it onto the stage as and when at the right time.
All right. Now I think we can move on to the demo. Thank you, Taylor, for the amazing introduction. So today what we are going to demo to you is the IDP accelerator. This is an open source repository, and what you're seeing on the screen right now is the UI for the IDP accelerator. In this demo, I'm going to show you some of the key features like classification, extraction, confidence score assessment. We'll also talk about what that means, automated evaluation framework, and even a few more features that we can fill in this 1 hour talk that we have today. There are many more features that I will kind of allude to at the end of the demo and talk to you about where you can see those features as well. So for today's demo, let's think about healthcare. And let's think about a use case like a prior authorization workflow. So for this, let me step into the shoes of a prior authorization case manager and look at a day in her life. Now, as a prior authorization case manager, I would typically need to process 40 to 50 applications per day. And each of those applications can have a document packet that can be very complex, something like this. So what you see here, it is a document packet that has 11 pages here. And in fact, each of these pages is a different document. So for example, this first form here it's a health insurance claim form. It's all unstructured data. What you can see here, we have checkboxes, we have printed information, we have fields that do not have any value, and again, like very nested tabular kind of format. And this format is very different from the next one, which is the hospital discharge summary document. And even you see the aspect ratio is different as well. And this is more row-like, it has paragraphs, etc. You also see there are a couple of photo IDs. We need that, right? Because we need to know what's the ID of the patient. So here we have a driver's license. It's a pretty clear picture, but it's kind of rotated. We have pictures of prescriptions. So this one, I mean, take a look here. This is a picture. It has barcodes, a lot of unstructured information in here, and there's also reflection in this one. So you can see like the quality is not very great. We can have handwritten notes. So here we have this not a particularly good handwriting of a patient, John Doe, and what condition they are suffering from, etc. Talking about picture documents, there's another one here. This is an insurance ID. And as you can see, this is somewhat blur. It's a photocopy. It's also rotated. And then we can also have reports like this one. Now, again, the aspect ratio is different, so let me zoom out a bit. So you see here there's a pathology report with diagnosis and the description of the conditions that the patient has, right? So looking at this document packet, as a prior authorization case manager, even as an experienced manager, it would take me at least 15 to 20 minutes to extract information from this document in a reliable way. First off, I want to know whether this document packet has all the documents that I need to submit the prior authorization application. And secondly, I need to extract all these different kinds of information, like what's the patient's name, what's the date of birth of the patient, other ID information, what's the insurance that the patient has, what are the medical conditions that the patient is suffering from, what is this prior authorization application about. So I wish that I had an automated way of doing this and a way to also spot check or like validate the information. So I'm delighted to know that we have that from AWS, which is an open source IDP accelerator. So now let's go back to the accelerator window. This is the UI. You can get to this UI once you deploy the CloudFormation stack. Mofijul will talk more about the setup for this process. As you can see, once you deploy the stack, you will get the link to the UI. You go to the link, you will see this console. It's user-friendly. On the left-hand side, you see a couple of options. Let's first look at the upload documents. You go in there, you see this window. Then you can choose your file, and you click on that file, you upload the file, and you will get a message that it's successfully uploaded. Then you can go at the document list, and now you're able to see the status. So you see the file that I uploaded, it's in a queue right now. It has started running. Now, for the sake of the demo and to save some time, I have already processed it. So let's look at the exact copy of that document packet, which is here, and see what all information we have here. So at the top, I see that there is a view processing flow. Okay, let's take a look what that has. We see that the first step is OCR. OCR is to extract text from all of these documents. And for that, we are using Amazon TextTract. The next step is classification. Classification is really now going into the document packet, looking at it page by page, there could be documents, say the healthcare claim form could be a 3-page document, right? So now you want to classify what all documents are present in this packet. So for that, we use Amazon Bedrock models. We use these large language models. We provide them custom definitions for our use case. So if, for example, in prior authorization case forms, if we know that we typically have health claim forms, we have driver's license, et cetera, we provide a kind of a generic description of each of these document sections or classes, if you will, so that the LLM knows what it's looking for. So in this step, the LLM then performs the classification. I'll go into a little bit more details in a few minutes. After that, the next step is processing. What is processing? It means that now we are extracting information from these classified documents. So if it's a driver's license, we want to now know what's the license number. We want to know what's the expiration date of the license, etc. So, and we do that per document. So you see all of this process now it's running in parallel. And then it's running in parallel to save your time. And once the extraction is complete, we have another step. This is called the assessment step. At this step, we get confidence scores. For example, how confident we are that the patient's name extracted as John Doe is actually John Doe. So that confidence score we extract or get in this assessment step. Followed by assessment, we have what's the next step? Let's see. It's summarization. This is a feature that we have turned on for this demo. You can also easily turn it off if you do not need it. So in this particular step, we get a summary of each of the document classes that are present in the document. Then there is something called evaluation, and the workflow gets completed. So how much time did it take? It seemed like it did quite a lot of things. Well, it took less than 2.5 minutes. Now, if I was going to do all of it manually, it would have easily taken me 15 to 20 minutes. So this is 10 times faster. In fact, we heard from Taylor's presentation about Myriad, we did see an 80% time saving when we used the IDP accelerator. Now, a feature to note here is that we can easily turn on or turn off all of these different, parts and pieces of these different steps and save time. So in your use case, if you only need classification, you can just turn on OCR, classification, and confidence score assessment, plus evaluation if you want to initially do evaluation. And that will take much lesser time. So just OCR, classification, and assessment can be done in less than 30 seconds. And all of that can be done by going into this configuration, view edit configuration, and there are some toggle buttons to help you turn on or turn off some of these features. Another thing to note here is that now there is a nice estimated cost breakdown. We see that the cost is about 4 cents per page. We look at this dropdown, we see the breakdown for each of the steps. Note here that for classification, we are caching read input and write input. This is to save costs. We're doing the same for extraction. You get the extraction break, the money that is getting charged just for the extraction step. And going further down, we see that in total for this document packet that had 11 pages, it took 43 cents. So a nice level of transparency here for costs. Okay, so now we saw the cost, we saw the time taken. How about the classification and the extraction process? Let's take a look at that. So this panel here is very useful for that. It has a nice rolled up view. What it shows is that, okay, for all these 11 pages, what are the different kinds of class types that that the IDP accelerator identified? So we see here, for example, that the first one is a health insurance claim for, and in fact, when I went through the document, the first page was in fact health insurance claim for. It is correctly identified. Now, incidentally, all these documents are just a page long, but if you have multi-page documents within a document packet, no problem. The IDP accelerator can handle that. So
Yeah.
if your health
Is
claim
there
form,
one question here, relevant question?
yeah.
Do you have a list of what categories you classify documents into? The exert the screen where you're talking.
Yeah, so in the view edit configuration, in fact, let me see if I can look at that. So there is a document schema, and here you can define all these different classes of the document. And the good thing about the IDP accelerator is that we are not providing you a prescriptive solution. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. So if you have different kinds of document classes in your document packet, you can put those class information, the description of those classes, etc. So for example, here we have the health, for this particular packet, I put in health insurance claim form, discharge summary, provider notes, etc. But you can put whatever you have in your packet. It's all customizable. I
Thank
hope that answered your question. Yeah,
you. Thank you, Priya.
absolutely. Absolutely. Now going back to the document list and looking more into the document packet itself. So here, we now see a nice classification for each of the documents that are present in the document packet, together with the page numbers. If it's a multi-page document, we will see 1, 2, 3, etc. for that particular document, okay? Now, another interesting field here is the low confidence field. This offers a rolled up view for easy kind of manual validation. What it means is that all the entities that we extract, like the patient's name or the insurance name, etc., there is always this confidence score that we get, right? And there is a threshold that we define. This threshold is also customizable by going into view edit configuration. By default, it's 80%. So if any entity falls below that 80%, then it gets flagged. So what it's saying here is that in this health insurance claim form, there were two fields that had less than 80% confidence score. But overall, looks like for most documents, there were no such entity. Most of the entities had, all of the entities here had more than 80% confidence score. There's one that gets flagged here. So this is really good because if you have many, many packets and you want to do a quick validation, you can look into this field and then go into the data and see it. So I want to see which fields had low confidence scores. So let me go in here. It says view data. Let's click there. And now I see, well, that's really good that we have a visual viewer here to look into the document. Let me make it a bit bigger and show you here. So for example, I see there's a lot of field here and I want to manually spot check and then also get into the fields that had low confidence scores. Here, the confidence scores are high, but let me see where it is. So I click on this name and I see a nice bounding box here to guide my eye where that exact entity resides, okay? Next, we have the address, for example, and I'm able to see the address. All right, so this is all really good. These are high confidence score fields. How about the ones that had low confidence? We have a nice drop down here. We can choose the low confidence alerts only, and then take a look at those. So I click here, I see that the bounding box kind of went below. So let's go down, and we see that the total charge here is actually $405. But the confidence score is 67%, less than the threshold. It's probably because the total charge is next to amount paid and balance due. These are all similar entities. So there might be a little bit of ambiguity here that led to a lower confidence score. Similarly, for physician information, I can click on this one and I see that it is actually correct. It's just that this field has a mix of names, addresses, and phone numbers, and hence the confidence score assessment kind of gave it a lower score. Now you can click on next section and you can go to the other ones, or you can close this and go into some of these documents. I am interested in one of those picture documents. So let me see if I can, for example, look at the prescription one. So prescription, this is the one that had reflection. I see that there is, there's quite a lot of reflection here next to the fill and next to the, on top of the name of the medicine. So let's see if it was able to extract all of that correctly. If I click on low confidence score alerts, I see there is no alert. That means all of them had high confidence. Now going back here, let me look into this and I see that the fill date is in fact correct. And the medicine name, which is further down, is in fact correct. So when I do all these kinds of manual checks, everything looks good. I know there was a handwritten note. Let me also look into that and show that to you. I think it was the provider's note. So let's go in here and we see that it correctly identified the patient's name and it correctly identified the history of the patient. All right, so with that, now I have done these spot checks, manual validations as a case manager, but I want to know if in this enactment, if in my hypothetical team, the system analyst was somehow able to determine the accuracy of the pipeline. So I talked to them and I realized that they have indeed done that. And there is an evaluation report that we have here. But before I dive into that, let me quickly walk you through the process of evaluation. So what you can do with your evaluation is that you typically have an evaluation data set with a bunch of document packets for which you know the ground truth. Okay. So what you do then is you go into the edit mode. So you go here. And for each of these sections, first you have to process the data through this pipeline. Then you go into the edit mode and then you click on edit data. And now what you can do is that you are able to now make changes here. So for example, if you think that the name was different, the name is not in fact correctly extracted. In this case, it is correctly extracted, but just hypothetically, suppose the ground truth was something different, then you can easily make changes here. You can say Gildo, right? Or maybe the date was wrong, so you can make those changes here. Once you put all the ground truths here and also use the visual editor to kind of guide you in case you don't know ground truths for some of the entities, then what you do is you save all the changes and you move on to the next section. I'm not going to do that for you because the hypothetical data analyst already did the evaluation for me. So let's close this. Okay. And once you finish going through this process of providing ground truth for each of these documents, you click on Use as Evaluation Baseline. When you do that, what happens behind the scenes is that all of the ground truth gets stored in an S3 bucket. So the next time you run it after making some configuration changes, you can use those ground truth to compare, the extracted versus the ground truth and get a sense of accuracy. So for example, now you can go into view and edit configuration and say you want to improve your classification. Then you go into this tab, which is about classification inference. You can choose a different model here. As you can see here, we have a variety of models from Bedrock that we can choose from. And with that, you can also change the configuration of the LLMs. You can change the temperature, the top P, top K, those kinds of things. And you can tune the prompt to your use case. That's what I meant by this IDP solution being a very customizable solution.
Yeah,
Rather,
Priya, looking at the time check, right? Can you conclude quickly?
yes, I can conclude in just give me 2 to 3 more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So let us now go back here. So just to give you a quick view of how the evaluation report looks like, it looks somewhat like this, where you have a high-level report of how the accuracy was. We see here that the classification accuracy was 100% correct, and even the boundaries were 100% correctly identified. Extraction was very good as well. And what's really good here is that going further down, for each of the sections, like for the health insurance claim form, you can then go into each of the attribute levels and you can look at the expected virtual versus actual and the reason. So using the reason, you can then further tune your configuration until you meet the desired level of accuracy that you want for the document. So let's close this one. I will not show document summary in the interest of time, but the one last thing that I want to show you is that you are also able to chat with the document. So after we extract all the information from the document, I, as a prior authorization case manager, I want to know some things like whether some of the diagnosis codes were provided in this form in this document packet or not. So I say, do the claim forms provide any code for illness or injury diagnosis? Because this package is huge. That package is huge, and I can't go through each page to search for that. So we get the answer here. We get the codes, we get the medical conditions here. So this chat is another really important feature. So to summarize, what I've shown you is classification, extraction, evaluation. We touched upon document summarization. We touched upon chatting with the document. All of this can be done in less than 2.5 minutes. So a lot of time savings, cost transparency, and we have seen savings in case of, when we are working with the customers, we have seen lots of customer cost savings as well. And at the end, what happens is that as a prioritization case manager, I am happy because I'm able to, in a reliable way, process all these documents much faster than I used to before. And then also patients and providers are also very helpful. They get their treatment, the patients get their treatment on time. Now, with that, let me hand over the floor to Mofijul, who will walk you through the architecture and the setup process.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Mofizil. Mofizil, we can't hear you. Mofizil, your voice is not coming up.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay,
Go
sorry
ahead.
for it can happen all the time. Okay. So thank you, Priya and Taylor, for giving the overview. Let's take a deep dive into the how this IDP accelerator is actually working. So we are happy to share that this asset is publicly available and open source in GitHub. So this is the architecture diagram of our the whole architecture overview, and the main component of this whole architecture, there's like a lot of component is there. For example, the UI, app scenes. The main meat is this part of that which is we call pattern. So the pattern, how the pattern is working is that will have like a specific module when we are processing. As Priya was showing, there is like some certain step when we are extracting the data and processing the document. So when the document is submitted and uploaded into the S3 bucket, it is submitted into the queue, and then we kick in the OCR module, which is can be Textruck or Bedrock or any LLM or the OCR module, which is extracting the data from the document. So it is not like a process, like it is just like a processing and converting the document into the text format. Then we have the base classification module, which is the splitting the document into different section. And then we are processing each section separately and extract the relevant information based on the configuration we define in the document schema. We have the assessment module for the confidence estimations, and then we have like some add-on module which is the rule validation. If we specify some rules, then we can apply those rules. For example, whether a patient's took like some physical examination in a particular year, so those kind of rules, if we define the rule schema, then we can use the rule validation. And finally the summarization. The output will be saved into the S3 bucket. Around this pattern we have like a UI, but this UI is not like a stick to that, like you can like we can remove that UI and uh, use if you guys have like any pre-built UI there. We also have like the agent processor, which is like using those extra data. If we want to do some document analytics, we can use those like instant agents there. So we have like a couple of different patterns. The like for example, mainly this is the pattern 2, which is very customizable. Customization means that we can customize the OCR module, we can customize any Bedrock model. But instead of that, if we want like a managed service, then we have like a pattern 1 where we can use the Bedrock data automation, which is a managed service. So we do not, if we do not want to customize the OCR or the LLM, if we want like a managed service, then we can, the Bedrock data automations can be the perfect choice. We also have like the UDAP module, which is the fine-tune based approach. Like if we have like a fine-tune model, then we can use this like a open source fine-tune model, then we can use the pattern 3. But in the pattern 2, we can also utilize the fine-tune model, but it should be in the bedrock. So if we in the bedrock, if we have like a fine-tune model, then we can utilize that. I'll just quickly show you how you can deploy that. It's a pretty easy to deploy. So if we scroll down in the GitHub page, we have like a pre-built template is there. So if we click any of this, like based on the region, we can also build. We also provide some documentation. You can also build your own template. But these are the three pre-built template is already there. So if we click any of this like a region, we can get this kind of like a form view where we can specify the name, some meta parameters like admin email address and so on. Then we can select like whatever the pattern we want to choose. Let's select the pattern 2. Then in the pattern 2, we can have like some pre-built configuration, like for example, the document schema. What are the document packets? So we have some pre-built document schema and configuration, but we do not need to stick to that. Like after deployment, we can easily change that, as Priya was showing from the view edit configurations. Then we can skip to the pattern 3. These are the, like if we have like a custom configuration part, we can also use that one, or like as we mentioned that like we do not need to try to use this preset configurations. We can also use our custom configuration if we have any. If we also have like evaluation data, like if we have already ground truth data which we want to use for the evaluation, we can provide that S3 bucket URI here. We can also customize the reporting. I will skip all of these things because we can keep it as default there. This is one of the important parts, is the post-processing lambda. So for example, if we want to do like something, like we want to take some actions after processing the document, we can use this post-processing lambda hook here. And we can also use the guardrails there if we want to apply guardrails in the document processing workflow. Then we can keep rest of the things as it is, but and then we can check mark these three things, and then we can create the stack. So it will take around 15 to 20 minutes to create the stack, and then we can get that UI, the demo Priya was showing. I want to give you like a bit workflow walkthrough of our repository. So if we go to the repository, so this stack, and we also have like a library where every module is we develop specifically in this IDP common here. So here we have like all of this module, like for example, classification, we have the OCR, we have the extraction module, evaluation module. So if we want to customize any of this module, this is the place we can customize there. And like as I mentioned, like this is like a production grade and asset we develop, so we can like directly deploy this thing in the production environment. But if we want to customize that, this is the place we can customize. We also provide some example notebooks. For example, if we go to the examples here, we can give you like a step-by-step some example notebooks there, some preset configurations, so which we can use to test every modules there. So if we want to customize, I think this is the one of the nicest way to uh, test and customize and evaluate that particular modules if we want to customize that. I think that's all. If you have any question, please feel free to create an issue. If you find anything like if you want to have like any feature request, please use the issues. We have a very active team here to supporting the development. Almost every week we are releasing an updated versions. We are hearing from your guys like a request. If you have any question, you can also use this deep wiki, which is a very useful to answer some of the questions you guys may have. That's all, guys. Now the next step is, as I mentioned, this IDB accelerator is a very customizable and very modular. So feel free to use that. I think it's a very one of the modular approach, like the one of the design principle we followed is to make it very comprehensive and modular and ready to use for in the production environment. There is like a couple of patterns we already provided. There is also like a fine tuning, like a model fine tuning feature is also available, so you can also utilize that to customize that module. So we have like as mentioned, like it is publicly available. Please feel free to use that, download that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We have like a survey link also here. We want to hear from you guys, like what you guys want to see next from, and how we do that. If you
Okay.
have any question, we
Thank,
can maybe take some question.
thank,
We have some
yeah.
time.
Thank you, Mufazal. Can you go to the next screen, show the survey link? Next slide.
Oh yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone, for attending the session. We will try to take a few questions from the chart. Again, we're really looking for your feedback so that we can improve our next session. Generally, we wanted to make these sessions more interactive. Based on your feedback, we'll improve. So we will take a few questions here. If you wanted to make sure that you bookmark, this is the AWS IDP accelerator. You can bookmark this. It is open source, and you can test it with our sample business use case, do some kind of a POCs, and then feel free to use this solution once you're done with your POC. With this, we will try to take a few questions from the chart. Do we need a AWS account to launch pre-configured apps and make changes as needed? Yes. Mufijal, you want to take that question?
Yeah, so if you want to customize the stack, then we need like a AWS account. But if you want to use like a particular module or library, and you if you want to customize that, then we do not need the AWS account. Like as I show from the like a notebook, if you want to just play with like a open source model and to plug and play with that, then you do not need that. But if we want to deploy that things like a all of this like a services is centered around the AWS account. So it is highly recommend to have like AWS account to use that. Otherwise, we need to customize the API module.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mufazil. There is a question how it is different from RAG.
Okay, I can take that one. So think about so we essentially also use the RAG when we have like a how it is working is that when you have like some document, we process the document, extract the document, and then index into a knowledge base. Then when as Priya was sharing that like the document with like a chat with the document, so that is essentially we using the RAG there. So the difference between the RAG is that we are not indexing every document there. We are processing the document and then indexing the RAG, which is essentially use the RAG as a downstream thing there.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mufazil.
and if I may add a little bit more, so this goes beyond RAG because imagine if you have a document packet with 15, 20 different kinds of documents, and then the downstream workflows depend on the type of the document, then you need to identify what pages belong to document A, what pages belong to document B, and then route accordingly. So that is not necessarily a RAG use case, but it's more like identifying what documents are there and then routing them to the downstream processes accordingly. The IDP accelerator does that for you.
Thank you, Priya. There were a few questions about like, can you post the learn more URLs and the share the presentation and all. If you are already registered with this through AWS Connected Community, we will share these decks in a PDF format to you. And let's take few more questions here. Can we use IDP to stream data for agents?
Um, Priya, do you want to take this one or I can? Okay, let me take this one. Um, the stream right now it is not like supported for the stream data. It is like if I understand the questions correctly, so our input is a document or any text or any like a text form or even we support the Excel document, but it is not supported by the stream data. But if we can pre-process the stream data in some format, and then we can utilize our IDP accelerator to process that. And we have like some downstream agents also. We didn't cover in our today's demo. We have like a agent analytics. So after the extraction, if we want to have like some post analytics there, for example, if I ask questions that which are the like what are the claim acceptance rate for some certain criteria, something like that. uh, then we can use those extracted data. So we have like an agent analytics module which is go through all of this extracted data and provide some analytics reports there. So that part is the agents is working as a like a post processing analytics agents. But the stream data, it's I think the input, if you're referring to the input stream data, right now it is not supported. But feel free to share if you have any good use case and feature request. Please use our issues there, and we love to take care of that.
Yeah, everyone, if you are not able to answer because of the time, your questions, we have the feedback form over the accelerator. You can always post it there. We will respond to your questions here. Let's take another question. Does this solution has a APIs to support at scale, like triggering workflows for S3 based events?
Yeah. So it is a event driven. So whenever we have a new document into a S3 bucket, our workflow kick-ins. Then we process all the like a documents one by one. And the API, yes, we can like include as I shows in the architecture. You can create like API on like a post processing documents there. Like we do not need to use the UI we have, so you can use like a integrate into your API or like endpoints there.
Thank you, Mufazal. Let's take another question.
Sorry, I think the last question there is also about database. The extra data is saved into a database, DynamoDB table, but we can also like a store in any other database. Drago, you have like another questions?
Yeah, another question. Is there any way API to flag lower confidence for human oversight?
Yeah, definitely. I think Priya was sharing that that like if you specify the threshold, like confidence thresholds there, then we compare with the confidence threshold, and if it is like lower than that, then we flag that one for the human review. Priya, do you want to add more on that one?
Yes, so I touched upon it a little bit and I was doing manual validation there, but there is a very nice feature in the IDP Accelerator, Human in the Loop Review, where you can do that review inside the console, IDP console itself. And there is a demo of that, a very nice demo of Human in the Loop Review in the code repository. So highly recommend you to go there and watch the demo.
And just to kind of contextualize that threshold, there's some pre-configured, but you can change that based on your use case. So if you have lower
Absolutely.
risk processing, you can maybe use a lower confidence threshold. If you have high risk processing, right, where we're talking about deadly events, then you definitely need to make the confidence threshold much more sensitive. So it's definitely something that can be tuned.
Thank you all for your time. I hope you learned something from this session. We see a lot of questions from the customers. In our upcoming sessions, we'll make sure that we will spare a good amount of time so that we will try to cover as many as questions. As we mentioned, like please fill the survey so that we'll improve all the session. Thank you all for attending the session.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.